Hello, one and all, and welcome back to another Ice Queendom discussion. I'm your only mate, and with me, as always, is
Max Trades, who has a pain in his neck. Ow, I'm okay. How's it going? We're gonna talk about some Ice Queendom again, and it's a very special episode. Why? I'll tell you why. It's the episode that makes Mate equal parts happy and depressed at the same time.
pretty much. Oh boy.
It's the Blake episode.
Yeah, well, at least this opening bit is.
The whole dang thing is Blake.
Yeah.
Look, the other characters do occasionally do some things, but this is a Blake episode.
Oh yeah, the whole episode is. Okay, no, she shows up in the last episode. Why am I even being vague? Shadow Blake is a thing, and oh my god.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of this.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
I guess we'll just start up things.
Yeah, the episode starts at the halfway point of the previous episode when Blake says, Blake has an idea, but then we get the ad break and we cut to something else.
I believe this legally constitutes itself as a flashback. Regardless, we're gonna learn said plan, even though we know said plan, but we're gonna learn about the context of said plan.
Yeah, we're gonna get, context.
Yeah.
So Blake's all, wait, Yang, what did you just say? I said that Ruby's doing her bit? No, after that bit. The thing about the Grim allergy? That's, Blake's plan to use the nightmare possession, because remember, it's still a seed.
Yeah.
And when Blake takes out a coin, Yang's all, hang on, stop. What's your idea?
Well, actually, what really happened was, Blake says that she needs to talk to Shion, so she reaches in and she grabs some coins, and then Yang grabs Blake by the hand, and then you paused and stared at it for 3 weeks. Now you may continue.
Well, now I've got to get that screenshot.
Yeah, you do! Anyway. Blake plan. Sorry, I have to get my jabs in, because it's fun.
Yeah, anyway, so Blake explains her plan, and it's to take the nightmare that possessed Jean and have it possess her.
A daring stratagem.
Yeah. By the way, I didn't even realize this for the sub, but that was somewhat foreshadowed.
Was it?
Yeah, you remember when they get the nightmare out of Jean, and then there's just that shot of an eye looking into the jar at it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was Blake.
Oh.
And when we were discussing that episode, I saw that and was just like,
He noticed it that time. That's fun.
Oh, that's foreshadowing.
Yeah, she's cognitive of it. So yeah, just let that Grim all up inside her arm meats. We'll get to that, but yeah.
Yeah, so basically, because these girls have had their asses handed to them by Shadow Waste this whole time, so
they need a boost.
Hey, yeah, have that nightmare possess me, and I'll become equal to Shadow Waste. And Yang is all, the hell you think I'm gonna let you do that?
I mean, to be fair,
what am I supposed to do? Stand here and watch you become Shadow Blake?
In Yang's defense, this is a Cuckoo Bananas plan with a lot of potential to not only fail, but also they don't have hard confirmation that it's even something they can do. So, at least at this exact moment in time, I can understand why Yang is voicing her concerns. One of said concerns being, okay, but then you're Shadow, then what are we supposed to do?
Yeah, Blake has a plan for that. That's where Yang and RWBY in particular come in. And the idea is, and by the way, I love the smile that she has when she says this.
Yeah, you do.
Which is, after she helps free Weiss, they free her.
Yeah. Trust. Friendship. Synergy.
Trust, love.
Nani?
Because it's these two.
Yeah, I know.
And that's a song in RWBY.
Now, shout out to this. Okay, here. I do want to point out one Yang line. It's interesting because Yang basically accuses Blake of like, so what, you have to do this because of the White Fang? And she's like, she actually just straight up asks, is it because you actually hate Weiss? Blake does not. You may continue from there.
I'm also letting the scene play out a little bit.
All right.
But yeah, Blake brings this up, how the White Fang and the Shiny Dust Company are basically mirrors reflecting each other.
It's true, which, I mean, I didn't really even fully really get that parallel, but it's kind of obvious now.
Yeah. And how, like, you know, this area they're in is full of stuff that Weiss can't figure out.
Yeah, it's not even exactly strictly resentment. It's just, I don't understand it. I don't know how to understand it. I'm just gonna push it away so I don't have to think about it. So that's better than outright malice.
Yeah. So Blake's idea is that if she's possessed by the nightmare, that means that she can reflect the truth back to Weiss, make her reflect on her legacy, and they can just basically just even each other out.
Yeah. As friends,
you might think,
as friends and equals.
Yeah. And you might think, well, how exactly is that going to work? And Blake brings up that, yeah, nightmares, they don't attack each other. But since we have an heiress for the Shiny Dust Company and someone who used to be a part of the White Fang,
You could probably bypass that. It's a bit of a loophole, but it just might work.
Yeah, their dark sides would have a strong enough reason to fight each other.
Yang is not very receptive of this plan because it is unspeakably dangerous.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, there's no guarantee that it will work.
Yeah. Like, is this even an option? And Yang makes like, hey, all right, like, go talk to Xion. Is this even a thing that we can do? Is it an option? Let's find that out before we decide what we're doing.
I do like this little stare down that they do before
you like
Yang's
anytime they're on screen.
True, but anyway, except like. Yeah, so they push on to find out if this is an option.
Yeah, and well, I mean, she says it's an interesting idea, but hey, sure, why not?
They.
God, I'm so annoyed with myself every time that happens. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Ugh. They. Anyway, Ren and Nora are there.
Hey, at least I bring it up before comments do.
Yeah, you do, and I appreciate that. It's not on purpose, I promise. I'm just stupid. Anyway, the rest of Team Juniper.
So, well,
the rest of Team Juniper want to get all up in there, but they're like, but Husband's all like, no.
Yeah, because they've already sent 4 people in there.
Yeah, that's already
Xion semblance even faster.
Yeah, that's already more people than they should be able to. So we're already past the level of amount of people we really should be sending in there. So no, they do throw.
Although Ren brings up the idea of swapping places with somebody.
It's like, well, that's not impossible, but right now we just kind of need to trust them on this.
Yeah.
But yeah, Xion makes it clear that the strategy definitely has a degree of feasibility. It could, in fact, work, and it might just about be the only option they've got left at this point.
But she does bring up to Blake that there's no guarantee that both her and Weiss will survive.
All right, so, after Blake basically confirms, like, this is our best chance at being able to do it, right? And Xion's basically like, yeah, pretty much. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, think about it. Is there another way?
Not especially, but yeah, so it's important that they hold on to the relic, because if they lose that, then they literally have no means of being able to do anything at that point, so be careful with that. And, okay, so hopefully you don't mind this, like, I know it's a Blake thing, but I want to be the one to talk about it because
Go for it.
It's Weiss adjacent in the sense. Okay, so here's the thing. At the end of the day, Blake's plan, essentially, when you boil it down to its bare basics, Blake has resolved herself to basically say, okay, so I'm either going to save Weiss, or I am also going to die trying, and she's okay with that. God damn. It's okay, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so...
I just really wanted to be the one to say that.
As much as I hate, like, just the idea...
I know, I do too, obviously. But
I think we all know...
Think about it from a friendship perspective.
That too, but also, I think pretty much any member of Team RWBY would be willing to, like, die to save the rest.
I mean, I don't know if this version of Yang would do it for Weiss. Hey, brought it back even though it doesn't make sense at this point. Anyway, but yeah, no, absolutely. But it's just,
yeah, and
I think you need to take into account the place in the timeline this is. Because this is the day after they had their argument. Blake and Weiss. So, like, when Yang asked, oh, is it just because you actually hate Weiss? It's like, no. Very clearly the opposite at this point, because Blake is putting it all on the line.
Yeah, and I teased this in the last episode.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Alright, so we've talked a whole lot about how, like, you know, Blake has been, just in general, the most sensible of Team RWBY. Like,
yeah, she is sensible cat.
Like, with the whole thing, like, when Ruby first went into her dream, she immediately thought, oh, this means Weiss hates me. Well, I'm never gonna speak to you again, Weiss. I'm angry.
She was angry, it's true. I saw it.
And then there's, like, everything that, well, Yang did. I mean, it's Yang, what do you expect?
Yeah.
She an angry gal.
Blake has been very chill about everything.
Yeah. There's also just all the, like, impossible stealth that she did in that one episode.
She did do that, true.
Hey, she's a stealth master.
She do be.
This plan, she's willing to put herself on the line to save Weiss to this extent.
Yeah.
And the faith that she has in RWBY and Yang to not only save Weiss, but save her as well. And there's another aspect to this that we will get to because it's brought up.
Yeah. This is an inhuman level of trust in her teammates.
Yeah, and honestly, like, we've talked about, oh, this is like the MVP of this episode. This and everything else, I will make this firm point. Blake is the MVP of Ice Queendom as a whole, in my opinion.
I mean, it's kind of hard to deny. She's the one making the biggest plays here, and is also keeping RWBY and Yang in line and on mission. Keeping their emotions in check, while also going through clearly some things of her own, but we'll get into that. Like, you might think, oh man, Blake, you're being way too reasonable and sensible. You're being way too calm and level-headed. That's gonna stop real soon. Which, because, you know, honestly, I could see that as being a legitimate criticism. Blake is being too understanding and sensible about everything, given the circumstances. I think I understand why they had her be that way for the majority of this, because it's all gonna change now.
Because of what's coming, and
yeah. So, but Shion and Ozpin agree. All right, fine. Well, we're gonna give it the go. Your plan gets the green light, Blake. And Yang racks her brain about it. She can't really think of anything else.
Yeah. Well, I mean, while Yang is just trying to think of another plan, they do bring up like, how many coins do they have left? Yeah. Blake has one left. Yang has two.
Yes.
So, Shion tells them, you each need to hold on to one coin.
Because they also don't know how many RWBY has. Or Jean.
Yeah, or Jean. Well, as we know, RWBY has none left.
Yeah, we know, but Blake and Yang have no way of knowing.
Or Shion.
Yeah, so it's very important that, you know, at least from their perspectives, like, well, they might have them, but they might not. So let's assume that these are the only ones we have left.
Yeah. Now, as for why it's super important for Blake to hold the coin, she brings up that if the Nightmare's control over her gets weak, then that could be used to wake her up.
Yeah, so...
And remember,
yeah,
happening with Ruby in the last episode, her coin got used up when she got awoken by the Nightmare after its control was weakened due to Jean's sword.
That's how that all works out. Okay, all right. I got it. I understood it, but at the same time, it took it having it lined up like that puts it very much into perspective. And hey, guess what? Random Renora moment.
Yeah. Just Nora telling Ren if what happened to Ice happened to him, she'd be doing the same thing that Blake is doing.
Yeah. And then he's all like, I am very good at hiding from them. I doubt that would be necessary. And then Nora's like, you literally missed the whole thing I was going for there. Lyren, master of flirt. It's fun because it's one of like the 3 jokes of this entire series. And it's not even really a joke, it's just comedically acted. Shout out to Pyrrha. It's like, hey, guess what, Weiss? You ended up with a pretty fantastic team just like you wanted. And goddamn, well, it's really kind of hard to argue that at this point now, isn't it?
Extraordinarily.
Yeah, no, they're willing to do a whole lot. Anyway, Xian is about to do their special dance with string in order to release the Demon Grim all up into Blake's body.
Yeah.
So hey, mate, you wanna maybe talk about watching the Grim get all up into Blake? How's that make you feel?
I'm not sure what the right word is, to be honest.
They're not exactly positive ones.
No, and it's like, look, you hate seeing Weiss with like all the thorns, and I'm just like,
I really do.
Yeah, that's about to happen to Blake now.
Yes, it is.
Well, look, yeah, this plan of Blake's, it's really, really smart, and well, also bonkers, and it shows like, yeah, she has that much faith in Team RWBY, and she's willing to put herself on the line.
Belly button. Saw Blake's
she's
belly button.
willing to get possessed by a Grim that will kill her if this doesn't go well.
Yeah, it's a daring stratagem.
It's like,
yeah.
Like, it doesn't get brought up, but I kind of wonder if, like,
yes.
Could you imagine if Yang tried to argue, no, have the Nightmare possess me instead?
Well, I mean, by Blake's theory,
that wouldn't work.
It's unlikely that Shadow Yang would really be interested in fighting Shadow Weiss.
Nah.
So, really, it's just straight up. I was like, all right, but they cut back to the dream, and Blake is very much like, all right, seems to be, it seems to have started. Here's the relic. Run!
Yeah. By the way, just throwing this out there. This is just the shipper in me.
Oh, is it? Okay.
If there was like one last thing of like, say, before Yang starts running, she like just pulls Blake in close and just says, "Please, just be okay." Mm-hmm. That would have straight up broke me.
Yeah, I bet it would have.
So, on one hand, I'm happy they didn't do it. Because, oh god, I don't think I would have been able to handle that.
Yeah.
Like,
Man.
on top of all of this.
Man, Yang punched the hell out of that door.
By the way, you're much further in the episode than I am, because I'm also just distracted being like, okay, I gotta take screenshots too.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. Yeah, I'm 9 minutes in.
Yeah, I'm like 8.5.
All right. Well, did you get the screenshot of Blake's belly button?
Well, because you brought it up so much, now I have to go back and get it.
Yeah, you do. Woo!
And the thing is, again,
like you're gonna complain.
Well, the thing is, again, I have to do this on an iPad.
Yeah, well, okay, I'm
So-
sorry.
Going back through the episode is a little awkward.
Well, I'm sorry, okay, sheesh. I'll try to make things less difficult for you. God, and here I thought I was doing you a favor. You get to look at Blake's tummy.
Anyway,
He didn't deny it.
as I'm just letting the scene play out, including the part where the nightmare goes into Blake's arm,
Mm-hmm. And then the thorns start going all up her arm.
yeah, like in the dream, just, yep, they're forming, and she's just like, it's starting.
Mm-hmm. And then the door gets punched.
Yep,
Okay, there we go. We're mostly synced up now.
mostly, but keep in mind, I gotta keep pausing and getting different screenshots,
I will. Look, I'll just comment on the fact that Yang's run cycle is hilarious to me, and I really like watching her go. Like, like she really kicks those arms and legs.
Like, run, Yang, run!
She runs so much, but she needs to run even more. Anyway, it's your favorite character. He's here. But now,
yeah.
but now in Force Ghost mode.
Yep, Adam is Blake's nightmare. What a shocking surprise.
I know, right? Like, even Blake seemed like she kind of expected it, but was like hoping that wasn't the case. It's like, I feel like I know what my nightmare is gonna be. I'm just kind of hoping that it's not, because that'd suck.
By the way, when I say I don't like Adam, I say I don't like him as a person.
Well,
Because,
duh.
well,
Yeah, no, he was a great villain. And,
yeah.
But
as a villain, great. As
Yeah.
a person, disgusting, and I hate him.
yeah, well, that's what made watching him die so horribly so fun.
Yeah, and honestly, that's another thing that makes a good villain.
Yeah, they turned his spine into a Kit Kat bar.
Ouch.
I'm not wrong. They definitely
Also,
snapped a piece of celery.
Also,
for
I
that
don't-
one. Yeah.
I don't shout him out enough for this. Just like Garrett Hunter,
Mm-hmm.
like Adam's voice actor.
Oh, really? Is that who that was? I never would have guessed.
Like the way he plays Adam, it's just like just hearing him talk, you just know, oh, this guy's a scumbag,
Yeah. So Adam.
and he just owns that.
Yeah. So to be fair, Adam's voice actor hates Adam as a person.
Yeah, so what should that tell you?
So that's pretty funny. Anywho, this I don't know, this sort of, I don't know, shadow mirage variant of Adam, you know, kind of is Blake's nightmare, so he kind of voices Blake's, you know, internal thoughts to a degree. And there is a part of Blake that doesn't know if she's going to be able to be friends with a Schnee. Or
Which, honestly, I think that's just understandable.
no, it very much is. It's a big ask. It's like, well,
Like,
Blake
yeah,
sure-
she has faith that her friends will accept her, but
can
there's
she?
still that worry.
Yeah, and also, can she at the same time? It works on a lot of levels. These are understandable fears to have, and even that when Blake is, you know, retorting back to it, that you know, she trusts everybody and that it's gonna work out. I mean, Adam basically pulls out a freaking Kingdom Hearts and says, "The darkness in your heart says otherwise." Oof, as she is consumed by many, many thorny things.
Yep.
And
I will say props to Blake for keeping a straight face the whole time.
Yeah, alright, so on one hand, basically, what we're actually getting out of this is the birth of Blake's dream and it fusing together with Weiss's dream. However,
And-
what else it can
Oh boy.
hang on. What else it can be interpreted as is just straight up Blake going Super Saiyan?
Yeah, because like
Like, she is
it
exploding with power.
yeah, exploding with power, there's like fiery stuff, reality is breaking.
Yeah, like that's some Dragon Ball stuff right there.
And hey, that explains why the mansion is on fire when we saw it in the last episode. And
Because apparently transforming into your shadow form shoots out a lot of crazy energy.
yeah. And well, what else that's crazy happens? The Kleindor turns into a white fang wolf.
So that's something.
So one of the clients is dead.
Yeah. Yang heavily considers going back. Good God, this shot of, like, this ethereal energy shadow Blake thing. You know what I mean, right? With the glowing eyes?
Yeah, I'm not there yet. I'm still getting screenshots.
Okay, well, goddamn.
I know the shot you mean.
Okay, because like I was just like, Jesus. Like, good lord. It's. I guess I'll save this comment for the very end because it's very apt, but at the same time, it's just like this episode, man.
Before we talk about this shot, I gotta say I love Yang actually calling back, just like, Blake, are you okay?
Yeah, like Yang, you know what the plan is. The answer is mostly no.
Yeah, but she's still concerned.
I get that, and I understand that, but there's a fine line between showing concern and just get out of here. Like, Yang, come on, you know what this is, and you know what's going on. You gotta get out of there. You're gonna freaking die in the crossfire.
Or just get infected by the Grim yourself.
I mean, either would be bad. Like, seriously, you had one job. Kick those legs. And you stop kicking them legs.
All the while, Shadow Blade gives her, speaks, well, I guess her first words.
Yes.
In the name of the White Fang and all faunus kind, I will bring down the Schnee Dust Company.
Boy. So, do you want to gush about it now?
Yeah,
or...
okay, so...
Okay, go ahead. Get it all out.
Okay, I'm gonna be singing her praises so much this episode, and I was singing her praises at the end of the last episode. Aaron Zek. Oh my god. Like, look, I love her as Blake. I love her as a person. I love her as a voice actor. Like, just...
Tell us how you really feel.
So, a while back I was going back through, like, you know, some roles that she's had in other projects. And as I was, like, watching them, I realized, man, Erin's really good at voicing sadistic gals.
Which I said was interesting because Blake was her first role, and it didn't...
And her most iconic, let's be real.
And in general, generally speaking, she is not able to play into that strength as an actress as this character. So I bet it was kind of fun to be able to here.
Yeah, when I was watching the Ice Queendom just sub, and there was only seeing Shadow Blake just show up, but then when I watched this episode and just like saw how she is, I was just like, oh my god, Erin is gonna have a field day with this.
And
I am hyped just for that performance, and good god, she delivered.
He's the hype man.
Erin is the hype.
Look, what am I supposed to say to that? Am I supposed to make fun of you? Because no, I ain't no hypocrite. Y'all allowed to get mad hype about this gal. That's fine, man. I get you.
It's just another reason I just really enjoy Shadow Blake as a thing.
Which is good, because you need to enjoy every aspect of it that you can, because fundamentally, at its core, as a concept, it's depressing and messed up.
Yeah.
So you need to find the good in it.
Absolutely.
Which is an excellent vocal performance and the hot pants.
Yeah, and another thing we will get into in a moment, but right now, Yang is being attacked by fawns, and they stop.
They do stop, for reasons. What reasons? The world may never know.
Except yeah, even Yang's confused.
As you should be, because why these thorns stop trying to do me a murder? Then she kind of just looks at her feet, and, well, wouldn't you ding dang know it, John's cape.
Yeah, okay, so this was a little thing I was really confused about during the sub.
Oh, yeah?
Because, like, in the lead up to this scene, you don't see the cape on the ground.
Nope. I assume that's just a bit of an animation error, if nothing else.
Or it's just, you know, not giving it away, but...
Yeah, it could be either. Or both. Who knows?
Yeah. So, this scene was interpreted in a bunch of different ways. So, there's Jean's cape just so happens to be there, which I guess is what happened.
That is 100% what it was. Look, when it got flung off the guy, it had to end up somewhere.
I mean, yeah, but... Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And the other way it was interpreted was just... Okay, so we find out a little later, Blake did not resist the nightmare at all.
Yeah, no, she just straight up let it all up in there.
She was just like, look, I need to become Shadow Blake, just do your thing, get this over with.
Uh-huh.
So, the moment the thorns go after Yang, people interpret it as just like, Blake, that's when she steps in, like, no, not her.
I mean, that's one way to interpret it. It's not that, but
it's not that, but
I get
it makes enough sense. It makes enough sense. I could see it being the thing.
I could also, but frankly,
and it's a little less like coincidence based.
Yeah, but it's a whole lot less power of lovey.
Yeah, true.
And look, I enjoy a good friendship power-up and all that good jazz. I'm a fan. I indulge in it in my own creative media. But considering how massively powerful the Nightmare Grim has been shown at all possible junctures at this point, it'd be very, very silly if just, yeah, nah, she's just able to say, nah, no, you can't attack her. I like her. Like, nah. I'd be more eye-rolly about that than I am about the coincidentalness of the cape being here.
Yeah, which is fair. I can see like pros and cons for both.
Yeah. Anyway, Yang be doing herself even more running now.
And she runs through a burning forest with mannequins.
And might I say, she makes that cape look. She makes that cape look work.
Yeah, and I don't know if this was intentional, but did you know that mannequins is actually something Aaron doesn't like? And the fact that...
I would have no way of knowing that.
And it's just like... There's all these like trees that are now around because Blake's Nightmare is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all these mannequins, of Faunus by the way, just burning.
Yeah.
I doubt that was intentional, but...
Probably not.
If it was, that's not that bad a reference.
Fair.
So... Yeah,
I know why Yang makes this look so good. I'm used to her wearing browns all the time. That's like one of her colors.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yang runs and runs until she finds Bumblebee.
Which she just just kind of left.
No,
there.
it's not. It's not her finding Blake again. No, she just finds a bike.
You are a fool, and I karate chop you.
I mean, the fact that it's the same name.
Yeah, but
like, I kind of have to make a joke about it.
Yeah, but at the same time, wasn't that coincidental to a degree?
I mean, yeah, true.
The attack. Yes, that was named after the ship. The bike, I think that was always just meant to be called that. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, she makes herself a door, and she does that thing at the end of the last episode.
Yeah. No, I will just quickly throw out there.
Yes.
So the bike is BEE.
Yes.
The ship is BY.
Yes.
Like that's how I always like distinguish it. People, if you're talking about Bumblebee as in the bike, spell it well.
Spell it like it's actually
with the two
a
E's
B.
at the end.
Yeah, like an actual B.
The ship, spell it with a Y at the end.
Oh,
was that you sneezing?
No, that was me noticing something funny.
Please tell me where.
Okay, it's a little after everything. It's we're seeing the Thorns kind of stop attacking Jean and his entourage a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And you see the sillies in the background.
Oh, is it Pura's face or something?
No, it's not Pyrrha's face. It's the sillies. I mean, the mini Weisses, as it were. Okay, look at the first. There are 4 sillies behind John in this shot. The first and the third one are copy pastes.
Oh yeah, they are.
And I don't know why. The second I realized that, I had to guffaw about it. But yeah, anyway, the shadows, they are relenting, which is nice. Jean is big.
Yay, fighting.
Yeah, Jean is big confused, even more so when motorcycle flies through.
Yeah.
You know who's
basically
who's the most confused of all?
Weiss.
Yes. Shadow Weist is the most confused of all, as a very, very, very angry cat girl in hot pants decides she's gonna do herself a big murder.
Mm-hmm. By the way, this shot after the, like... Wait. Blake? Just... The moment Shadow Blake, like, steps on the ground, like, she just does it with enough force to, like, cause a crater. Mm-hmm. Like... That's also just another thing Dragon Ball characters do, right?
Yes, it very much is.
Shadow Blake is Dragon Ball, confirmed.
Alright, now here's the thing.
Oh! I just noticed, like, she's also got actual fangs.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, she's a lot more bestial in general in this particular form. So, I have to ask, you always enjoy it when Blake smiles. How about these smiles?
You mean, when Shadow Blake has stuff to say to Shadow Weiss?
Yeah, I do. How do you feel about these ones in particular?
Unnerving, really. Because I know this is like, yeah, evil Blake.
I can't get over the fact that evil Blake is literally doing the anime cat girl face, you know, like, you know, that little squiggle smile. She is literally doing...
Oh, yeah, I know the one you mean.
Yeah, she is literally doing that right now. It is legitimately bonkers. But yeah, they do themselves some fighting.
I'm sorry, but it's just like the way Aaron delivers these lines, the whole doesn't look like I'm just playing around. Mm-hmm. Just like, as the fight goes, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So, it sure seems to me as if that, I don't know, maybe the Weiss forces have just been weakened up to this point or something. You know what, maybe that's part of it. Weiss is just in general weaker. Because seeing as how Shadow Weiss was about to submit herself to just being asleep, that it could be seen that Weiss is currently in a weaker state than she was earlier. Which, because I'm just noticing that, well, not only is Shadow Blake having a bit of an upper hand in general,
but she's just dominating right now.
Yeah, her forces are also dominating the Schnee mechs.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, what was said about the Nightmares, like, earlier on, is that the Nightmares will make sure their host is the strongest one in the dream.
Which is interesting.
But, well, because there's two of them fighting each other, both Nightmares are going to be trying to make theirs the strongest.
Yeah, makes sense. And then...
That's for the more reason why, you know, this works.
Yeah. And then Yang...
As an idea, because it means, like, the Nightmares are going to be distracted too.
Yeah, and then Yang explodes herself out of that train. On a bike. Just kind of... And, you know, she quasically reunites with RWBY a little bit. They know that they're together, which is good, Although Yang totally leaves Jean and the silly entourage to fight the Jacques Knight, so that's a bit of a problem. I'm legitimately curious as to how that's going to end up going.
I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, you say a lot of words.
Look, thing is, I know, so...
Yeah, so you can't say
What do you
anything.
want me to say?
I get it anyway. RWBY's on the bike!
Sorry, before that, I love Jean's face when he sees Armagiga Shock.
He's like, well, my life got a lot harder. Like, what are you even supposed to do about that? It's okay. You've got 10 small Weisses on your side. You can do this, John. We believe in you.
And a Pura.
And a Pyrrha, too. That's true. So there you go. I don't know why, but there's something adorable about RWBY riding on the back of Yang's bike for some reason.
Is this the first time we've actually seen that in canon?
Yes.
Huh.
The only people that have ever ridden shotgun, you know, lack of a better term, because I don't want to say the actual official term of sitting on the back of a motorcycle like that. that we've seen on Bumblebee at this point are Blake, Oscar, and Neptune.
There's also Shady Man.
Yeah, but we both know that doesn't really count.
And Weiss. Oh wait, you said Weiss, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so...
Yes, so there you go. So yes, RWBY has never ridden on the back before.
Yeah, I think even in, like, non-canon, like, just supporting media...
No, it's just never happened.
Yeah, like, the only one in supporting media I remember is Blake.
Yeah. Just straight up,
I
like...
wonder why... Gee, I wonder why Blake rides it on the back of it the most.
Or at the very bare minimum, why it's the only one that immediately springs to mind for you personally. Regardless, I feel like it's safe to assume RWBY has ridden on Yang's bike at least once in the past.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because that just seems like a fun thing to do. I don't know, I just like seeing them be sisters. It's cute.
Yeah, it is.
But, yeah, so... okay, well, Yang gives over the relic, and she says she's going to get RWBY over there and distract the big Nicholas, and then they blatantly reuse the shot of Yang leaving the train again, but this time with RWBY passing by.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Very blatant reusing of animation on that one.
Yeah, I mean, like we've said before, when it comes to making an anime, you gotta be careful with your budget,
yeah.
do, like, some shortcuts.
Look, there is a lot of stuff going on in this scene. I'm honestly, I'll point it out, I'll poke some fun, but I'm not deducting points for it.
Nah.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Anyway, so, while Yang is distracting Nicholas,
yes.
RWBY makes her way into the house, and oh my god, it's Bat Whitley, and he's taken the relic.
Yes, and then RWBY murders him.
I had a thing I was going to lean into that.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Well, it still works. Go for it.
You know, do you remember last episode I was, like, telling RWBY to do something?
Yes.
Well, it looks like she listened to me.
Yeah,
because she shoots Whitley.
She just flat out does. And admittedly, we don't exactly see the point of contact for the bullet, but we just see the Whitley bat get hit, drop the relic, which RWBY catches, and then him hit the ground. I don't know if we ever see that particular creature again, so I'm just going to assume at this moment in time that RWBY straight up killed it.
Yeah, I actually can't remember if we see him again.
We don't know. We'll see in time. White Fang versus robots! They're doing their best. Speaking of doing their best, it's John. He's always doing his best, and then reused animation of the silly Weisses running forward, but
I was wondering if you noticed that, but I mean, it's something Weiss related, of course you did.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Like, it's Weiss, I noticed. But yeah, no, the silly Weisses, they jump forward and they start doing themselves a big battle, and it's good. And John trips over his big-ass sword, which makes more sense than running across than the cape, but still. It's convenient that he did.
Well, yeah, because the sword was already there.
Also, hey.
And, like, we knew about it.
I feel like you must have noticed this. Have you noticed that, you know, after the dreams have fused together, the floor is literally a checkerboard?
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Well, no, wait, wasn't that area always like that?
I don't know, but it's significantly more thematically appropriate if it was always the case. It makes more sense now than it did before.
Oh, yeah.
I choose to believe that this is because of the dreams fusing. That is how I do. Anyway, Yang looks like she's about to fall off to her big death, but then she's like, oh right, Dreamland. So she just Matrix rides on that side of that wall.
You know what, when she says, oh right, Dream, I'm just like, no Yang, it's an anime, but I see how you get the two confused.
It's a dream and an anime. And then Yang punches the hell out of one of Big Nicholas's hands.
Yep. Like, makes a whole bunch of cracks in it, and it seems to groan in pain.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Thought it was a robot. And we get a cool sword fight. Clang,
yeah,
clang, 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 clang.
Between our goals.
Yeah, that's, you know, that's a combination of emotions.
Yeah. I will just say, like, we don't actually see Team RWBY, like, fight one another, like, ever.
No, this is literally the only time this ever happened.
Yeah, it's like... I don't even think we've seen them, like, just spar, like, training. So this is, like, the first time we've had one member of Team RWBY actively fight another in some capacity.
Yep, first time.
Yeah, so... kind of weird, and it happens to just be our goals when they're possessed by Grimm.
Yeah, because, you know, I'll just choose to believe that's the only single solitary way you could ever get any of them to fight each other.
By the way, is it bad to have this, like, really stupid idea for just something to do with this?
Just do it.
Negative Weiss, Empress to the Schnee Empire and Nightmare side of Weiss Schnee. Negative Blake, leader of the White Fang and Nightmare side of Blake Belladonna. These members of Team RWBY have been at odds before, but after being possessed by Nightmare Grimm and when the chips are down, which best girl will finally reign supreme? He's Max and I'm Mate, and it's our job to talk about these Ice Queendom episodes and tell you who will win a best girl battle.
You are the biggest Dorcas of all time. Jesus.
I know.
Anyway, okay, so here's the thing. Okay, I have something I want to say, but I want you to talk about the things that Shadow Blake is talking about, you know, are at the accusations and the pointy words of she. Leave Shadow Weiss's responses out of it. I want to bring those up, but you know, I don't want to step over the Blake time for you.
Oh yeah, so when Shadow Weiss talks about passing judgment, Shadow Blake is all, judgment? When has your kind ever judged fairness fairly? As she's like, just attacking, like, maliciously.
Yeah.
Just, how many innocents have suffered unjust verdicts at your whim? Like, you stole our land, you stole our pride, and when we resisted, you stole our lives. This is who you are. And that shot where it's just her eye.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really cool shot, but oh god damn.
Yeah. We briefly cut back to the Shion room, and it is observed that because of Blake just kind of letting the Grimm go hog wild, it's also, I mean, yes, in a way it makes it a little easier for certain aspects, but it's also spreading throughout her at an alarmingly fast rate.
Yeah, like, Weiss has, like, all those, like, lines and thorns. Blake has, like, patches.
Yeah, she's got like scales. She's turning lizard faunus in here.
And that's what happens when I guess you don't resist.
Indeed. Shion just kind of, well, things are progressing. We're just gonna have to hope that they're able to make this work because it is literally do or die. It's all kinds of unfortunate there. RWBY says, "Open sesame," and she gallivants her way there. And she's like, I'm gonna help out Weiss. And she's like, you're fighting too, aren't you? And she is. I want to talk about that, actually. Which is good, because it actually cuts back. After we see, you know, purple fire spawn dark, messed up trees all over the kingdom, if that's something. But okay. I guess I get to talk about Weiss. It's basically the one real Weiss centric thing to happen in this particular episode. And while this is still obviously Shadow Weiss, you know, like, she's still all about the passing judgment and everything, there are very clearly and blatantly flashes of the real Weiss underneath all of it that are saying things in this moment.
Yeah, I think does show Blake's plan is working.
It is, because on one hand, it's helping, because the idea was to reflect the ideologies back at Shadow Weiss to make her reflect and see the truth. And by accusing Shadow Weiss of all these things, well, Shadow Weiss herself has to retort. And it's stuff to the effect of, like, you know, because when Blake accuses Shadow Weiss of doing all of these things, Weiss just kind of has to retort back that, straight up, no, she herself never did any of that. And that she never wanted this. And that none of this was even remotely her goal. Which is definitely not something that that's not something Shadow Weiss feels. That's something the real Weiss feels.
Yeah, and I think you can also just pull up evidence that, yeah, this is the real Weiss, like, you know, coming through. Because in one episode, Shadow Weiss says in her world there are no Faunus. So, yeah, either the actual Weiss is coming through, which she is, or, well, a little hypocritical there. And just kind of coming across as just like, I never meant to be evil.
Yeah, I know, but that's because it's the not bad parts of Weiss talking over the bad parts, so it gets contradicted. It's not a hypocrite thing.
No, but I'm saying if that wasn't happening.
Oh, okay, yes, then that's fair. But, like, you know, Blake brings up Menagerie and stuff, but Weiss is like, I'm not the one who did any of that. I don't hate the Faunus. I just want to protect the city. So it's like, yeah, there you go. We're really deep diving into the psyche here with all of this.
I do like the, like, split screens of them, like, holding their swords at each other. Also, they just had to just show the, like, height difference, didn't they?
Yeah, they really did. Blake is taller, we know.
It's just reminded me of that shot in Volume 8 that I used for a thumbnail.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, Blake is tall compared to these two.
Yeah, Weiss is also just very short. I believe she is officially, like, 4'11".
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
5'1" in heels, yes.
Yep. Without heels, she is the shortest of Team RWBY.
Which, you know what? Whatever. Fine. She's just compact and mobile, and that's okay. Anyway.
But with heels, nah, RWBY.
Yeah. Anyway. Probably my favorite part in this, personally, because, you know, I'm the Weiss guy, is Shadow Weiss basically just saying, well, I'm very certain that this just isn't you. Like, she recognizes that this is super duper ultra unlike Blake in every regard. It's the real Weiss shining through again. It's just like, none of what you're doing makes sense or aligns with what I think of when I think of Blake. And I think that says a lot.
Yeah.
Even if the being a Faunus thing did end up causing a whole banishment thing happen, and there are a lot of emotional complications and all that jazz, at the end of the day, Weiss does, like, you know, it's easy to say. Weiss does not hate Blake, and Blake does not hate Weiss. And they
don't hate each other.
And that's what makes this fight all the more incredibly difficult to watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they are friends. Why they fight? I don't like that.
The British accent really necessary?
Could you repeat that?
Was the attempt at a British accent really necessary?
It wasn't on purpose.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or not, I'm not always trying to make fun of you. Sometimes, when I talk, I just put on an accent, and it's never even meant to be a specific thing. It's just different sounding. Sorry. I wasn't trying to be mean.
Nah, it's fine. Well, you weren't even mean. I was just like, is that really necessary?
It was not. It's just something that I involuntarily do. Anyway,
so I think we said that at the exact same time.
Yeah, probably. Anywho, RWBY puts the relic in her little...
I was going to say one thing before that.
Oh, okay, fine, go ahead.
So, yeah, we talked about how, like, the actual Weiss is coming through in the fight, and saying she's going to, like, take off that mask. The Shadow Blake is all, I'd like to see you try, and then goes in for another attack. Then we cut to RWBY.
Yes. I'm just throwing this out here.
By the way, RWBY, I'm just going to say this now. You put the relic in your bag, zip it.
I know.
This is your last one.
Don't mess it up. Also, I just want to very casually throw out, Like, the Persona vibes have always been incredibly strong with this series, but the fact of Weiss just saying, I'm gonna take that mask off.
Oh god, I didn't even think about that.
Like, I'm just like, yeah, I bet you are. Anyway. Yeah, RWBY she is dedicated to fight them thorns. She does some flippy dippies, she does some slashy slashies, and she makes big hibbity hops. And she makes one big old lunge right on over. And that's pretty much the end of the episode. We gotta wait.
Mm-hmm.
Will everyone die? No. But, well, you know, how are they gonna get through all this? I don't know. We'll have to keep watching then. There you go.
Yeah. But
It's such an interesting. It's like, obviously all of them are going to be fine, but I'm still interested to see how they get out of this situation.
I know how, but I'm not saying anything.
I will karate chop you.
Yeah, I'm also just trying to like go through the bit where it pans up the nightmare, because I have this idea for a thing I want to include in the video.
Okay, you go ahead and do
which,
that.
I'll talk about in a moment.
Okay. But, yeah, that's the end of the episode. The next one is called Light in the Shadows, and it's all very symbolic, as you might imagine. Oh, I just noticed something interesting.
What's that?
Okay, so can I talk about the end of episode illustration?
You mean how it's, Blake and Yang?
Yeah,
and
it is Blake. Yeah.
And did you notice that Blake is holding the sword that Shadow Blake has?
Yeah, that's normal Blake with Shadow Blake's weapon.
I have to admit, that is actually rather badass looking.
No, it's okay. We didn't actually get to talk about it. Here's the thing. Shadow Weiss also has a variant of her normal weapon, Mirtmaster. But it's mostly
it's darker.
It's mostly just a color shift. It's darker in tone and stuff. It's otherwise basically the same sword. Shadow Blake has an entirely different version of Gamble Shroud.
She really does.
It's basically like it was already kind of it is a dual sword setup, but it's like she's like wielding two big black and red cleavers now that are like connected by a chain. It's pretty boss, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it basically is just like taking Gamble's Shroud and combining it with Adam's weapon, because did you notice, like, one of the handles is like a sawn-off shotgun?
Yes. Well, here's the thing. As disturbing of the implication is, Shadow Blake quite literally is a fusion of Blake and Adam.
Yeah.
I know, I'm sorry, but that is what it is.
But I have a lot of things to say about Shadow Blake. A lot of it is just praising the hell out of Aaron's performance, because good god, man.
Yes. We're all very impressed.
Like, she legit gives me chills in that role.
You know, I mean, doesn't she do that in general?
True, but I'm complimenting her voicing Evil Blake.
I know.
Okay?
I know.
It's actually one of the reasons, because, like, I've talked about this bit of speculation, like, for Volume 9. So, last time Blake saw Neo, she thought she killed Yang.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously we know Yang is fine, and she's gonna find this out in Volume 9 when she wakes up in that world, realizes, oh, Yang's gotta be here too, or just when they reunite.
I mean, either I'm in whatever, either there's an afterlife and I'm in it, or me and my friends are not dead.
The next time she sees Neo... Okay. We got a little taste of Feral Blake. So what if we get a bit more, and... Okay, yeah, so Aaron, like, going full force into, like, Angry Blake, bring in maybe a little touch of the Shadow Blake. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
And I've talked about this idea because if you go all in on their semblances... By the way, also tie in Arrowfell, where Blake can make multiple Shadow clones. that can also fight and are as strong as her, apparently. Yeah, that game gave Blake some gains.
It did. It really did.
So anyway, take all of that. If you go all in, good God, Blake versus Neo would be fun to watch.
Yeah, there would be so many fake outs.
Yeah, depending on how full force you go with it, like with the fake outs with both their semblances, like that could put the Madara versus Aizen death battle to shame. And I love that idea.
Like, oh, you think they're dead? Nope, still going. Are they dead now? Nope, still going. It could be a thing. There's no doubt of that. But, yeah. There you go, peoples. It's another episode of the Ice Queendom. It was...
Also, just real quick.
Oh, yes.
If that fight happens, I want Blake to win. Well, no, obviously because Blake's my goal. Go Blake. But also because, look, Neo has, like, her win-loss record is better than Salem.
It is.
Like, no.
She's literally only ever lost to Maria.
Yeah, no, Neo, like...
And I appreciate
I'm sorry, but Neo kind of needs to eat an L at some point.
And you know what? If that could also simultaneously be the L that gets her the big dead, well, that'd be neat too. But that's for the official show. This is Ice Queendom. So don't you worry none about that business. But seriously, I'm sorry, but I legitimately can't get over, like, if that fight happens, I want Blake to win. It's like, no, you wanted her to lose. Like, freaking duh, dude.
Well, for more than just, like, yeah, go Blake.
Yeah, I get it. Anyway, then the next part's the conclusion of all this business? Perhaps?
Well, we have our fights going into the... Well, I guess the end game.
Yeah.
We got RWBY versus the Nightmare.
Yeah.
We got Jean and the Sillies versus Armor Giga Shock.
Yeah.
We have Yang versus Big Nicholas.
He's the beast.
And we have Shadow Weiss versus Shadow Blake.
Yes. What's gonna happen? Time will tell. Hope you enjoyed our incessant ramblings about a show, because that's just the kind of thing that we do. And
along with just my gushing about how good at voice acting Eren Zek is.
She really is. Can't deny it. And I assure you, we'll probably do the exact same thing next time too.
She's also just a lovely lady in general.
I know. I get you. Reading between the lines. I get you. We'll see you all next time.
Bye. Go Blake!